They called it a hearing, but the idiocy was deafening. It was like Lord of the Flies meets early onset dementia. And no, that's not meant to be funny.
That was not a question, that was a statement.
I did not ask you a question yet, sir. I ask you to please refrain from interrupting me.
It was necessary that the park be cleared, and it was done. And you said, get it done.
Mr.
things
Barr,
like church.
we have the facts. I'm going by the facts.
Mr. Barr, I just asked for a yes or no, so let me just tell you, I'm starting to lose my temper. I want you to provide the answers that you are either unwilling to provide us or don't have answers to.
I haven't seen that many dumbbells in one place since my gym closed. And yet we pay those people to pull this crap on other people. America, the land of the taxpayer-funded witch trials. That was the Bill Barr hearing held by the House Judiciary Committee. But it was really a contest between Democrats on who could sound the most like an oxygen-deprived imbecile. I'd call them bird-brained, but I don't want to offend the Audubon Society. So who won? Was it this bozo?
I am not going to lie to my constituents. I am going to tell them that President Donald Trump and the Attorney General working together are not following health guidelines. They're letting Americans die needlessly because of political reasons.
Or this bozo.
You are projecting fear and violence nationwide in pursuit of obvious political objectives. Shame on you, Mr. Barr.
Can I just say, Mr.
Shame on you.
Shame. Or this bozo.
The Justice Department is responsible for protecting the constitutional rights of Americans, not to serve as the president's personal bully or political director.
Or this bozo, part 2.
Could we take a 5-minute break, Mr. Chairman?
No.
That's a common courtesy, Chairman, of every witness.
I waited an hour for you this morning. I haven't had lunch. I'd like to take a 5-minute break.
Mr. Attorney General, we are almost finished.
You're clapping.
Okay.
What a jackass. The trick question is, all of them won. And bonus, they introduced a new catchphrase for the numbskull.
Reclaiming my time.
I'm reclaiming my time, Mr. General.
Reclaiming my time without political bias.
He said he's
in April, reclaiming my time, Mr. Attorney. Mr. Attorney General, reclaiming my time. Reclaiming my time.
I think instructions as to what
reclaiming my time.
Yeah, I'm answering your question.
Well, you got to let him answer.
Reclaiming my time.
That's a myth.
It wasn't until this administration. It wasn't
reclaiming my time.
Enforcement. They're not peaceful.
Reclaiming my time. I'm surprised at your lack of respect.
I'm really surprised. Yeah, that didn't look planned. No, they certainly didn't get together beforehand and say, hey, let's call the guy a murderer, a traitor, and then forbid him from responding, using a phrase that a purple-haired protester might hurl at the Portland police. Reclaim my time. It's like something a creepy doll found in an attic might say when you pull its string. Except they just kept pulling their own string over and over again. Check out how Barr dispenses with this half-wit chuckle bucket.
Are you aware that the rector of the church, that the Episcopal Archbishop of Washington and the presiding bishop of the Episcopal Church nationally, along with the Catholic bishop of the Archdiocese of Washington, all denounced this police assault on the civil rights and civil liberties of the people?
Did they do that before or after the fire was put out?
Well, all that I know is that they denounced what you did.
Bill Barr should check his front fender for a hairpiece, because I think he just ran over something really stupid. So how did the media cover it? Well, so seriously that this enraged anchor had to take her glasses off to talk about it.
What does holding him accountable look like, though? Are there any actual consequences?
We have many options for consequences. What I want people to know is we actually have to hold him accountable to the American people. You saw his affect yesterday. He was disrespectful, spoke over top of every one of us. In particular, he spoke over women.
So sexist. So the media watches a large group of angry, power-mad freaks target a person voluntarily offering to answer their questions, and they see the lone individual as the oppressor. Yeah, today we have a media and a party that endorses intolerance not only on the street and online, but in governance. The whole thing approached mob rule. No wonder these clowns spent almost all of their time defending the unbending violent mobs. You can't tell them apart. And to protect the roving rabble and demonized police, these hacks kept doing the bait and switch with peaceful protesters. So when Barr tries to point out that the cops are trying to stop violent offenders, they go, "How dare you go after peaceful protesters?" And that's their only defense. The overwhelming majority were peaceful protesters. But that really doesn't matter. You don't need a majority of something awful to create something truly awful. You know, there were only 4 people in the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And I guess if there's only one serial killer in your hot tub, that's not a problem. But it was fun to watch Mr. Barr swat these idiots away like buzzing flies. He barely flinched. Could any of us had kept our cool like Bill Barr? I mean, just change one vowel and imagine if it was Bill Burr.
Shame on you, Mr. Barr.
Can I just say, Mr.
Shame on you.
Will you guys just grow up and just sit down and write your own horse, come up with it? Quit waiting around for other people to do for you. That's the problem. I'd start my own. You guys got to start your own. You got brains in there, right?
Yes, that's right. I can dream, but Bill Barr could only grin. He reminded me of law enforcement dealing with the rioters. They appeared stoic as these cowardly and disguised losers chucked metal objects, explosive devices at them, and who actually had blinded 3 officers permanently with lasers. Yet the police did the job, risking life and limb. It's amazing, this courtship between the committee and the mob. The committee not only defended these anarchists, they were inspired by them. They became them right before your eyes. The Democrats went one step closer to removing the barriers between peace and civil war in order to placate the homely horribles defiling our streets. Hold on a second. Hey, Kat.
Hey.
What's that on your finger?
My engagement ring.
Ah, cool. So it's no surprise that over 100 law enforcement agencies have withdrawn from guarding the Democratic National Convention. And why should they guard those creeps? Of course, we know protests will come and turn violent. What if the Dems expect the cops to protect them, though, and they do? They'll get demonized, sued, and arrested. If they're expected to respond to violent riots and not respond to violent riots, it's a lose-lose situation for the cops. Fact is, what you saw this week was the mob virus spreading through a party and taking control of the host. As they shut down speech on social media and shut down speech on the streets, they're now moving on to the justice system. And if that's what they do in public, can you imagine what they do when the cameras turn off? God help us if these people decide to come after you or me. If we don't stop them by voting in November, then it won't be Bill Barr in that seat. It could be all of us.